Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 27. It's Monday. Once again.
It's Monday.
As it always is, because we record the show on Mondays.
Yeah.
Monday. Also, it's Thanksgiving week for all you Americans out there.
Whoa, what's Thanksgiving? Please tell me. It's not Christmas for another month.
Well, it's basically Christmas to shop and get drunk and eat lots of food. And
it's Christmas light.
Yeah, it's Christmas light.
It's like a
America gets video games first, and now you get Christmas first. This isn't fair.
I know. Right?
It sounds fair to me.
Have you ever heard of the elusive Black Friday deals? That's what Thanksgiving is about.
You haven't really celebrated Thanksgiving until you've killed somebody in Walmart.
Until you've trampled over someone over a TV that's $150.
Yep.
America. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope you guys have had a fantastic previous week. This week, what are we talking? We're
terrible,
talking
Tefty.
Terrible, I know.
Awful.
I'm trying to embrace Holtzman. You know, the spirit of Holtzman into my intros. You know?
Don't do that.
Well, one can dream. Come on, Briar. Jeez, man. So Google Stadia, guys.
Yeah, man. I've been playing with this thing a ton since I got it. I got it on Thursday. Watts, you got it Wednesday? Is that right?
Did I get it Wednesday? Sounds right. Yes.
Wednesday sounds right.
I'm going to say Wednesday.
Eric's has had it for like 3 weeks, but still hasn't opened it yet.
Yeah.
And I didn't pre-order it. I decided not to pre-order it.
Yeah, and what happened, Tefty? There's a Tefty running out there in the Google world.
Somebody said, "Hey, are you Tefty on Stadia?" And I was like, "No, oh no."
Wait, somebody took Tefty?
Somebody took Tefty, man.
It was me.
Actually, yeah. I blamed it on Briar, but maybe it was Eric's.
If I had thought of it, I might have done it.
I'm selling it on eBay right now.
I'll buy it. Send me the link. I'll buy it on eBay.
Okay. I'll give you a discount.
Thank you.
This thing is really interesting in a couple of ways. Like if you're just like kind of a nerd, it's like the technology of the system and how it works is very, very interesting and very cool. If you're just a gamer, it's hard to figure out like what this is for and like why you'd use it. But it does kind of introduce you to a world that I think could be really cool. The whole thing with streaming a video game is there's a lot of benefits to it, right? It's like there's very fast load times.
Mm-hmm.
You get the benefit of very powerful hardware at a low cost.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about installing a game, updating a game, anything like that. When you decide, okay, I want to play this Mortal Kombat 11 game looks interesting. Let me check that out. You could be playing it in 20 seconds. It's not about going to a store and buying a disc or downloading it
like Netflix, sampling something really quick.
Yeah, that I think is kind of the coolest feature about it. But it's also where Stadia to me falls apart. Like in a world where this actually had a Netflix style model like Game Pass does, I can see this being a revolutionary gaming experience. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But because it's attached to Google, and because I have to buy each game separately, I never anticipate buying games for this thing at all.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Stadia came out, I think a few people have said they don't really know what they want to be. And I think it really shows. Like if they were like, let's create this thing where you can take it anywhere, it works decently no matter how bad the internet is, and you sign up for a subscription and you can just play whatever games you want, then people will be like, damn, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
But
that's what I was hoping it would be.
I actually forgot that I almost forgot that you had to buy the games, and suddenly like now I almost kind of assumed it was a subscription service, and then suddenly it's like, oh yeah.
So this thing has a ton of flaws, but I could forgive all of them if it was a Netflix style gaming service, and I could just it launched with 28 games. For my subscription fee, I could just play any of those 28 games whenever I felt like it on my phone, on my tablet, on my computer, or on my TV. That'd be wonderful. Like it'd be a wonderful service.
Can you explain to me exactly where the deviation is on that stuff of what you get as a service and what you have to actually pay for? Because I'm unclear on that.
So if you buy a game, you can play it for free on the Stadia service, right? You don't have to pay a monthly fee.
Buy the game. Okay,
if you buy a game on the
Stadia. If
That's
you
correct.
buy the game, you have it for free.
If you buy the game, you don't have to have a subscription to play it.
That makes sense.
You're maxed out at 1080p, 60 FPS, and you can play it on. You can play it on a bunch of different devices: a phone, a computer, or on a. Obviously the Stadia hardware, which is basically a Chromecast and this rather good controller. Frankly, I like this.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah. If you pay for the service, then you get access to 4K gaming, and you get access to Destiny 2 for free, the Shadowkeep edition, and I believe the other one was Samurai Showdown, which I had never played before, and I quite like, to be honest with you.
Nice game. Yeah.
I was a big fan of Samurai Showdown back in the day in the arcades.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know when they rebooted it and just started calling it Samurai Showdown as opposed to like Samurai Showdown like 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever we're at. But it's pretty fun and the graphics are pretty good. I was hugely disappointed that Destiny 2 isn't presented at 4K.
It's not?
Like, to be honest. No, I'm guessing it's 1080p.
Guessing.
And it's upscaled to 4K. Yeah, it doesn't look great,
wow.
to be honest with you.
It doesn't look super great. No.
It runs at 60 FPS.
It runs at 60 FPS, and you get the loading times as if you're on PC. Like, it's really fast, and you have the 60 FPS. But visually, it's just not super crisp.
Yeah, it's not as good as playing 4K. I mean, it depends on where you're at. I play on a PC, and if I want to play with a controller, I have that option on a 4K TV, playing native 4K at 60 FPS on a TV because I have a PC. If you have a console like a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X, you have the option of playing at 4K at 30 FPS. With Stadia, you can play at 1080p at 60 FPS. And it's a trade-off there. I think I'd prefer 60 FPS, but you're also dealing with the latency involved with the Stadia. So it's not like a hugely better experience than playing at 30 FPS locally. If that makes sense.
It's a cheap way to get 60, but
super cheap.
Yeah,
super cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of the functionality that was supposed to be in here isn't even here. Like, I can't play on my phone because I don't have like one of the 3 phones that are supported right now, which are all like Google manufactured phones.
No iPhone support?
No iPhone support yet.
Can you just do it through the browser? Like, if you loaded up a browser on your phone, could you?
Maybe. I haven't tried that. Maybe you can. I have tried it on a PC, which is, a little silly.
On a PC with a 2080 Ti.
But I was not able to use the controller wirelessly in that configuration. So I had to plug the controller into my PC to play it that way, which is a little weird. And it didn't look good. I think it was coming out at 1080p on my PC. It's like, well, I mean, I guess if I had like a MacBook or something where I wasn't able to play games on it, then I might use that option. But it's really feature limited right now at launch, to the point where I wonder, like, it might have been better just to wait 6 months, get some of these features going.
Right.
It would have, yeah, because they're gonna be connecting the Google Assistant through the controller, so you can use Google Assistant on the controller, and it links to all your other stuff in your house.
That's interesting.
That could be really cool, but it's not available.
Doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. So I just want to clarify something. So you said for a subscription, the main benefit is you upscale things to 4K, and you get Destiny for free with that subscrition. And
I think there's going to be a rotating set of games that go in and out of the free, like the included with subscription.
But you're
kind of like if you have Xbox Live or something.
But you're just paying for a 4K. Like, that's the main benefit.
Yeah, that seems a bit of a rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I can double check.
Rubbish is the key word.
I'm going to double check that while we're actually thinking about it.
Yeah.
I assume it's with the features missing as well. I assume they don't have that fancy multiplayer thing they showed off during their demonstration, right? Where you can.
No, that doesn't work yet.
Oh no, that's one of the things I was most surprised about. I was like, that looks like a really cool system.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
So you have to buy these games.
You have to. This is the problem to me. I can forgive everything about it, except that I have zero confidence that this service is going to exist in 2-3 years.
Yeah. So
right?
why buy licenses?
There are websites devoted to how many services Google has canceled over the years, right? The list has got to be 50 services long. What tells me that Google isn't just going to cancel the Stadia?
Yeah, after a couple
if it's not
years.
a huge success. And if I go and put, several $100s into buying video games, and the games aren't cheap, they're normal priced video games.
Yeah, that's
like
rough.
if you want to buy Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, it's $60.
And it might be gone in 2 years.
And it might be gone in 2 years.
I almost feel like if they're not going to do a subscription service, they should just partner with, like, I don't know whether they would ever want to do that, but like partner with the people that sell it on PC, so you can buy the PC game and you also get an unlock on Stadia.
That'd be great.
Just for convenience.
That would be amazing.
That would be all right.
That would be great. Yeah. It's also another thing that I think if you're a Destiny player, which I think we said before, then this actually works really well because of cross save. But for other things, it doesn't work as well. Like if I wanted to continue my Red Dead playthrough, I can't because it doesn't.
No cross save.
There's no cross save with that. Whereas that would be really cool, right? I can play Red Dead in bed on my phone.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which would have been appealing.
Yeah, that whole concept.
I'm super into the phone portion of this. So like if I want to log in like while I'm away, let's say, like Zur has like a really good exotic that he's selling this week and I'm away, like it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to Philadelphia for Thanksgiving. I could just log in on my phone, run over to Zur, buy what I need to do, log out, and like that's awesome. That functionality is awesome about Stadia. But it's so specific to Destiny. You know what I mean? Like it's really hard to justify this thing.
Okay. So there's a huge purchase / value issue that's at hand. How does the actual service for you and you and Watts, right? You guys, Brian Watts, you guys have used it extensively?
Not extensively. No.
I've probably put in 6 hours into playing on it.
Okay. How are those 6 hours realistically?
Mixed. When I was on Wi-Fi, it was really hit or miss depending on what else was going on at my house. If my kids were online, chatting on Discord, playing video games, if my wife was on Netflix, or if anybody started a download for anything, it dropped pretty badly. It's the fact where the game would actually stop working altogether and log me out.
When you're on Wi-Fi?
When I was on Wi-Fi. When I was connected to a wire, like an actual LAN cable, I didn't have any issues. Like zero.
Yeah, same. Connecting it through Ethernet, it's been totally fine for me. Like I could easily run strikes, do bounties. I could do whatever when connected.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But you had to be connected, no Wi-Fi, for it to be flawless feeling. Or when I say flawless.
For me, at my house.
Alone on the Wi-Fi. It's probably if no one else is touching it.
Nobody is in your entire city, in your entire vicinity, and they don't breathe. Right. Then it's fine.
I have a weird wireless network too because my house gets like bad Wi-Fi if I have only one router. So I have one of those mesh networks in my house.
Okay.
And the way the Stadia connects, where the controller actually connects to Wi-Fi, and then I tried to plug in a LAN cable, depending on which part of the mesh network the Stadia controller connected to, it may or may not work.
Gotcha.
Which was really frustrating. So if I want to connect to the LAN cable in my office, there's a Wi-Fi base station in my office for the mesh network. The Stadia would obviously connect to that, and then the Chromecast couldn't see the Stadia.
Wow.
Or the service couldn't see the Stadia. Like it didn't to Stadia, it didn't look like the two things were on the same network, which was frustrating.
Yeah. It's very concerning that your guys' best experience was being LAN wired in, because this is supposed to be a mobile, like you're out on the go, like play your game on your phone.
Right.
Understand that my home network situation is a little bit high usage, right? I have two kids that are on their computers all the time on Discord, downloading games, doing stuff. My wife is often watching Netflix or HBO. It's like there's a lot of traffic on my network.
I feel like that'd be a standard user, though. Someone who doesn't want to invest a bunch of technology because they have other things going on in their life. You know, they got a couple kids.
I mean,
they can't afford a
that
$3,000
basically
PC,
sounds
right? You know, so a Google Stadia would be a great option to do that. But
Yeah.
Eric, so what
It
you're saying?
almost sounds like, back in the day when it was like, you remember when there was dial-up? It was like, oh no, can you get off the phone? I need to use the internet. It'll be like, yo, can you please get off Netflix? I need to play my Stadia.
Right?
It needs to be one of those like internet sounds when you're playing Stadia.
Yeah.
It's like I said before, if they really dialed in on mobile gaming anywhere, take your stuff anywhere, it's gonna work. It might, even if the quality of the actual visuals isn't that great, but it just performs well, it's smooth, there's not that much input lag, then that would have been great, because then you spend, honestly, not a ton of money to be able to play your games wherever you want, whenever you want, and that would have been super cool.
Yeah, it's like a budget-minded solution for that.
This is a non-starter for like 99% of the population to me. Just because of the pricing model and because of like the limitations it has. Microsoft has the xCloud, like that's going to be releasing soon.
Mm-hmm.
And you pair that up with a service called Game Pass, and you're looking at a very attractive situation.
Yeah.
Imagine if, I don't know if this is going to be how it works, but we know that the Xbox app is coming to the Switch. We know that Game Pass already exists. We know that xCloud is coming, which is a similar service to Stadia. You start putting the pieces together, and you're looking at a Netflix style model using hardware that you already have in your house. And, Microsoft is very good at networking and services.
Yeah.
And like, well, I could play my Xbox games on my phone, my computer, my Xbox, my Switch, and I'm already paying for Game Pass. So I can just start playing these things right off the bat. I don't have to download it. I don't have to update it. I just, what's this cool game that Tefty told me about? I'm gonna start playing it, and in 15 seconds I'm playing it on any piece of hardware I have. That's super attractive. I think that's what Stadia is targeting, but they're not hitting it. They're not hitting it.
Yeah.
When Stadia started talking, when they first announced it, and they started talking about, well, you could be watching a YouTube video, here's Eric's talking about Monster Hunter, and there'd be a button under the YouTube video where you could just click it and start playing it. That reality isn't here at all. That's not. There's no integration in YouTube right now. Also, you don't just start playing it. You have to buy it for $60. It's like This is a super half-baked service right now. It should not have released right now. No way.
No, they should have waited.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because especially in this day and age when you've got three. I mean, I know it's not a conventional console, but you've got three, core console leaders in this market to launch your system to try and compete with that, and in a really bad state. I mean, that is especially with it's not even, it'd be acceptable if it's one of those things where it's a couple of the things are coming a couple of weeks after launch, but this is almost everything they showed in the demonstration is not there. A
huge list of things is not coming, or is not here yet.
Do you have the list of features that are coming but are not here?
Chromecast Ultra units that are out in the wild, the update isn't ready yet, so you can't just start using those. You have to have the Stadia edition of the Chromecast Ultra right now.
Wow, that sucks.
The Buddy Pass doesn't work. Family sharing doesn't work. Google Assistant, we already mentioned, doesn't work. State Share, which is this function that you can share your saves between your friends, doesn't work. Stream Connect doesn't work. You need to initially set this thing up. You need to download the app to your phone, because you can't actually set anything up on the Chromecast unit itself. So you're doing all the setup from your phone. To buy games, you have to do it from your phone or from a browser on your computer. You can't actually do any of that stuff in the app itself on your TV.
So if you bought, I mean, not that you would, but if you bought a Chromecast, say you were I'm going to buy it for my kids so that they can play some games so I can't afford to buy them a console, and they don't have a PC and a phone, they can't do anything.
Right, that's
now.
correct.
No.
That is correct. Right now.
Yikes.
But
I'm sure they're going to fix all this.
See, technically, you can't buy Google Stadia without doing the pre-order Founders Edition right now. So it's technically in beta, right?
Well, I haven't seen beta on anything that I've looked at.
That's how they marketed this launch. In the real launch, where everybody can use all this stuff, is going to be those units out in the wild is going to be March or something of next year.
Okay,
we'll see.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But that's
to play on your phone, you have to plug it in via USB.
Wait, what?
You have to plug the controller in via USB to your phone to
But
play
my
on
phone
your phone.
doesn't.
Yeah, if your phone works at all.
Oh,
you don't have a
What the
USB on your
hell?
phone.
It doesn't have a
I don't
Bluetooth
have a
connector.
USB on my phone.
Well, you get an adapter to go from like Lightning to.
No.
Yeah, you'd have to probably get like if
I'd
you're an
have to get
iPhone user,
adapter, you know.
you'd have to get a Lightning to USB.
You get the camera
C
kit.
adapter.
Yeah. Oh, USB-C. Yeah.
Yeah, because the controller is USB-C, which I love USB-C. It's a much better connector than the older USB standards, but still, it's just craziness.
Yeah,
There's so much. There's just so much.
It's really hard to see this thing actually be successful a year from now with all the issues that it has. Because the main question though was when you guys were playing not wired, was it like unplayable for you, Briar? No.
I didn't try wireless, to be honest. I haven't tried it.
Okay.
When everything was working right, it looked pretty good. Not as good as playing on a PC, obviously. And it performed pretty well. But like,
and that was on wireless.
My kids stream, so like also they boot up a stream, and bang, like
it'd kill it.
Everything would get like super blocky, and it'd take 10 seconds to kind of
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So the other thing is, it doesn't look that good considering that we're running on Google servers here, right? I mean, I would imagine that Google's got some pretty powerful hardware in the in the cloud, but it doesn't look nearly as good as the computer I got sitting right next to me.
Right.
Not nearly as good. And when you consider that there's 2 brand new consoles coming out at the end of next year, a year from now, there's going to be 2 brand new consoles that are definitely going to be like playing Destiny 2 at 60 FPS, I would hope. Like, man, that makes it real hard to buy this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, if it's for people that travel a lot or they're just not home that often because they're really busy and it worked well, then it would have been great because those people could have still kept up with all the games and that would have been a great service. But if it's going to have issues if someone else is using the internet, you're not going to be able to use that at a hotel. There's going to be loads of people using the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're plugged in with the Ethernet, I would question if it's going to be super stable because obviously there's a bunch of people using that network.
I'll be staying in a hotel this weekend. So I will bring it with me. I will try plugging it. Some hotels don't allow you to access to an HDMI port, Like I've definitely run into that.
You mean the Ethernet
but
port?
I'll give it a shot. Most hotels don't give you access to an Ethernet port.
Right. But HDMI? Why would you want HDMI?
To plug it into your TV.
Oh, gotcha.
In your room.
I was, honestly, I see this being a setup where you like prop up your phone, you play directly on a controller in front of you because, a lot of the phones are big enough to have a decent experience for gaming.
Oh, for sure. Or like a tablet, like
an
iPad or something like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. That'd be wonderful. And if that ends up working, but I mean, I'm unfortunately for this service, I'm all Apple in that regard, and that stuff doesn't work on Apple right now. You got to have like a Google Pixel phone or something like that.
That's really tough because like that's such a huge market share. iPads and iPhones to discount that market share, I feel like is extremely short-sighted.
I think that's just right now, though. I think that'll be rolling out. Like the Stadia app is available for iPhone, so I can go onto the store. I can adjust the settings of the thing, which, frankly, there's one video setting, and it's turn HDR on, turn HDR off.
That's useful.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, it's super half-baked right now. I mean, the core service, playing a video game on Stadia, it's pretty cool. Yeah. And I'll be interested to see, can I get this to work at a hotel? Like, I'm going to bring it to my father's house, my father's trailer. He's currently living in a trailer. He bought a horse farm, and they're building a new house on the horse farm. So he's living in a trailer on the horse farm. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a true test right there.
But
there's definitely parts about it that's cool, right? Like I said, seeing Destiny in 60 FPS and loading really fast on my giant living room PC, non-PC TV was great. That was really cool. Being able to play it on my upstairs TV in the bedroom, that was great. And having cross save again is what makes that really awesome.
Yeah,
because I can take my account anywhere.
How did you feel about I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I'd be interested in trying it in different places all around.
So you play on controller much more than I do.
Yeah.
How does it feel to you? Because like Destiny on a controller right now just feels weird to me.
The controller feels pretty good. I know some people have said it's light, but I use a controller that has rumbles taken out. So I think this is actually a bit heavier than the controller I normally use.
Interesting.
But I personally felt like the controller was a solid feeling controller.
And you didn't have a problem with the lag, the input lag?
Not really. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the input lag either. I felt like aiming, even with like sniper rifle, trying to get headshots. I didn't play any PvP. I tried to play PvP, but I could never get a match because there's not enough people playing.
Yeah, there's not enough people.
But like lining up a sniper headshot, like, you know, in PvE, I didn't really have a problem with, aside from the fact that my thumbs are potatoes.
I was. There is a slight bit of input delay. But it's the point where I could play PvE and be totally fine. PvP maybe not so much. But then again, maybe everyone has the same input lag, so maybe it's fine. But yeah, I think I could totally do PvE.
Yeah, running through strikes was no problem. You know, like doing stuff like that was just not an issue at all for me. And I, like Watt says, I kind of like the controller. It feels good. I would say that I really don't like that the share button is where the start button should be. So I've taken about 80 screenshots of what I'm doing.
That's funny.
Well, you have the Google Assistant. You could send it through your home network to your kids.
That's right.
I've just opened my previously sealed Stadia, and the controller is actually quite nice. I think like initially just sort of, it's almost like a weird blend of the Nintendo Switch controller and the PS4 controller. But the thing that's nice about this one is that because the handles are slightly longer, I normally hate dual analog sticks in the same place. I like Xbox like staggered analog sticks, but because the pad the grips are slightly longer, it actually makes for quite a comfortable experience. Interesting.
Yeah. You're like,
that's my 2-second review of having just opened the controller.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a comfy controller. Even the D-pad isn't that bad. Like, you know, considering modern D-pads, I don't know if there's any like really good D-pads right now. As far as
Xbox Elite's really good.
Okay, that's a $180 controller though.
And that's why. It's a really good D-pad.
And that's the cost of Stadia.
The Pro controllers, D-pad is good as well.
Yeah. Is it? You know, it's not bad though. Like I was playing Samurai Showdown with it, and you know, it felt good. The sticks feel good. You know, everything feels fine about the controller.
The only initial gripe, just from literally like 2 seconds of use, but the bumpers feel a little bit light and flicky and what's the word I'm looking for? Flimsy. Flimsy is the word I'm looking for. The bumper seat feel. They remind me of like early 360 bumpers when they kind of didn't have that sort of same press to them. But still.
Okay.
Yeah. I gotta say, overall, the controller, like especially for a first pass, you know, like Microsoft's first pass was the Duke.
Oh man, it's gonna be interesting to see how this unfolds, and
I don't see it having a chance in hell. We'll have to.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's not technically officially out yet for anybody to go and just, you know, pick up the service on their Chromecast. Like that's their end goal, is you could plug in any controller and then pay like a $10 service or whatever to get Google Stadia. Yeah.
It's the pricing model. The pricing model kills it.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter how good the service is. It doesn't matter how good the controller is. None of it matters because the pricing model kills it right out the gate.
They got to have it.
Imagine if they had a Game Pass style and people were able to just sign up with, and they already had a Google Chromecast. That would be super cool because you're like, I just paid $10 and I can just play on this thing I already have and play all these games. That's amazing.
Yeah. You know how much use I get out of Game Pass every month? I constantly download games out of there. I'm like, City Skylines. I've never checked this out. I'll download it.
And you wouldn't have to download it.
You wouldn't have to download it.
You can just hop in right away and try it. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
If they had that pricing model, and I don't care about the $10 a month. They could charge more than that, and I'd be okay with it, because having access to any game, anytime, no download, any device, like I could be sitting at the DMV and start playing something like right away. Like that is really attractive to me. But paying $60, for every game on a service that I don't know is going to be around in a couple of years. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, sounds risky.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's very hit and miss.
Google Stadia. It's actually Google Stadia?
Google Stadia? I can't wait till xCloud comes out, because like that to me is a much more interesting take on this. If they do bring Game Pass to it, and then like to me, if they have the Xbox app on Switch, like we know that's coming, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was a rumor. That wasn't confirmed.
Oh, that's not confirmed? I thought it was.
I'm pretty sure that, because I think at one point that was sort of going around. So I think that's but I mean, but even so, it'd still be on like a ton of other platforms anyway. So, you'd be.
Yeah.
Even if I could play, if I have access to Game Pass on my phone, on my Xbox, on my computer, and on my TV, that's just the pricing model alone. As long as the service works, the pricing model alone is just so much better.
When is xCloud?
And they're adding more controllers to that as well.
Right. Yeah. When is xCloud slated for release? Is it next year?
I don't know. I'll
With
look it up.
the new console? When all that's coming together?
Interesting.
Yeah. Well,
no official release date. Microsoft is rolling out a preview beta program October 2019. So you can probably sign up for the beta, which maybe.
So they must be trying to align this with next year's console, I'd imagine.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And having like a closed beta, probably smart idea. Stadia, you might have wanted to look into this. Because
true.
The initial impressions on this from just about every review I've seen are, unless it's just from a technical side, like the people who are looking at it just from a technical side are like really impressed with it, right? Like, wow, this looks really good. I can't believe this is a streaming video game. Like, we've seen this before. Nvidia has a similar service. We saw on Live years ago. Sony has a similar service. I've used the Sony service, and admittedly, I haven't used it in probably 4 or 5 years. It was horrible. Like, it was bad. But like on a technical level, like the actual act of playing a video game, it's really impressive how fast that lag is. Like, Digital Foundry did a lag test on it, and it was pretty impressive.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to watch that.
Like, I think it was like an average of like 60 milliseconds of lag per, like, above what you'd expect on a normal video game. Because there's lag on a normal video game, right?
Yeah.
And like like if you use your PlayStation 4 controller on Bluetooth mode, there's more lag, and if you have your TV in not game mode, there's more lag. So like there's lag no matter what game you're playing on what system. There's built-in lag. So this adds more lag, obviously, but it's about 60 milliseconds, I think, above what kind of is baseline for video
60
games.
milliseconds.
Yeah.
It's not insignificant.
No, but so like on Red Dead Redemption, it's like a difference of like 180 to 120.
Right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I guess the sort of thing where like at this stage you would play, it would be all right for like sort of cinematic experience kind of games where you can just sort of like, play and enjoy the journey. But if you want to play anything remotely competitive, then probably not.
Yeah.
If I could play Death Stranding and build roads in bed on Stadia, I'd be down.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Yeah.
And there's no cross save, so.
Yeah, the cross save. Yeah, there's just a lot of pitfalls with this. Unfortunately, it's a bummer. But maybe xCloud will be the one that actually gets all this stuff right. Like you're saying, Briar, with all the different platforms, it's already got Game Pass in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you primarily play on Steam, you can already kind of do this. Except instead of playing on Google services, you're playing off your computer's uploading the image to your phone or to your tablet, and you're playing that way.
Yeah.
And then you do have cross save because you're playing your PC. Like.
Right. Erickson.
Maybe they'll just like brush it under the carpet and then re-release it in a few years as Google Stadia.
Stadia, yeah, exactly.
Google Stadia Plus.
Eric, I'm really curious about how your experience is with it once you open it up and actually use it over in the UK. Because
right now it's great. I mean, I put my coffee mug on it. It's a really nice stand at the moment.
You checked out the clickiness of the buttons. It was like, well, it's kind of springy.
I did. Like, I mean, the packaging. I'll give you, like, even in the UK, like, there's no latency on the packaging. It's quite nice.
Okay,
and
nice.
Quite,
That's
quite
good
well produced. I mean, the graphics are quite cool. I will say the logo looks more like it's, I don't know, one of those like fancy soap companies.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily see this.
It looks like it's the Sharpie logo. Like if Sharpie was to have
it does kind of.
Or it's a new fitness band company. You know those fitness bands where you like stretch.
True.
Yeah,
Basically,
it sounds like it could be a fitness band.
I feel like the way that the logo is designed, they were in the boardroom and they're like, right, well, we're already struggling with all the services, but oh wait, we forgot we need a logo, and someone's like, it's all right. Okay, we're good. Let's go.
And
like, yep, sign it off. It's fine. Get that done. Yeah, no, but I'm definitely gonna like this weekend. I was busy the past weekend, but this weekend I finally got a clear weekend, so I'm actually gonna set it up. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see what it's like on UK internet, and then I will report back next week.
How much
setup is really fast, which is good.
Nice.
Yeah, if you get your email, you have to get this like code that they send you via email, and for a lot of people, that code has been delayed.
I'd be so bummed out if I didn't get my code.
Yeah. My code arrived before my Stadia, so at least I've got that.
Mine arrived like literally like at the same time, like within like a couple hours.
Tracking the delivery guy, and they were like, "Send."
And launch the code. That's crazy, man. Like, it seems like the launch has been really rocky for this, which maybe by the time it's officially out for everyone, like I said, who has a Chromecast, maybe a lot of this stuff is going to be ironed out. Except for the pricing model. That won't be ironed out.
That's the thing. That, I mean, if you look at the games that they have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 15. What else is on here? Metro Exodus, Mortal Kombat 11, Rage 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Red Dead Redemption 2, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. They have a bunch of really good games on here, but you got to pay for them individually, and they're kind of old games at this point. So, like, if I was like,
all $60,
I missed out.
Let's see. Let's take a look at Steam.
Okay.
And how much these games cost.
I mean, it's the same price, essentially, right? On Steam versus that.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is $23.
All right, let me look at what it is on Stadia. I got the app up.
Oh boy.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'm probably gonna have to search.
It's like a smoking bullet.
Is there no search function?
Oh no, that's coming later.
Scrolling is coming. Yeah.
Tomb Raider, the first Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is $19.99. If you're a pro member, it's $10.
Oh, you get a
Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. It is the Definitive Edition is $60.
The one on Steam that's $23.
Well, this is the Definitive Edition. I don't know if that's the Definitive Edition.
The Definitive Edition apparently is usually $109, but this is $23.
Oh
on
my
Steam
god!
Interesting. Wolfenstein Youngblood is $30. Rage 2, $60.
Let's have a quick wait. Let's have a quick catch up. Where were we at, Watts?
Wolfenstein? Rage 2. Let's take a look at Rage 2.
Wolfenstein Youngblood. They should be giving that away for free.
It's still $60. Rage 2 is still 60.
Okay,
60
comparable on that.
Steam.
All right.
Wolfenstein. Let's take a look.
Wolfenstein 2 Youngblood.
$29.99.
Okay, so even Steven there.
Okay.
Even Steven. What, there was Mortal Kombat 11, right?
Oh, how about Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Because that's that's fairly old, right? Assassin's Creed Odyssey is still $60.
All right, it's $60, but if you're a pro member, it's $30.
Google Stadia wins.
Half price.
Well,
that's it.
There we go.
Mortal Kombat 11.
Mortal Kombat 11, I think, is still 60.
Yeah, it's $41.99 if you're a pro member, which is still a lot of money.
But then, so you have to pay to be a pro member.
$10. Right?
So then you have to take into consideration how many games am I paying for each month,
and will the service be around in a year?
Yes,
I've worked it out. I've worked out who the target market is for Stadia. Right?
Yeah.
people that are looking to get good at fighting games. You see, fighting games are a complex beast, right? And one of the struggles that people have is learning frame data. Now, the problem with seeing frame data is things move so fast. So you play on Stadia, where you have latency, and you'll be able to physically count the frames in fighting games. So you train on Stadia, and then you go to the real console. I've found it.
And even with because of the lag, you're going to be amazing.
So this is a fighting game trainer to get people into the industry. Got it.
You input like the quarter circle for like Hadouken, and then like you input it, right? You do like your quarter circle, then you go away and get your lunch, and you come back, and the Hadouken comes out. You're like,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
I like it.
It's great.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't think that this type of service is necessarily a bad thing. It's just the pricing model. The pricing model combined with the fact that you have no idea if they're going to support it for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, that's the biggest kicker.
No confidence in Google on keeping a service
pricing
around.
And whether or not it's actually going to be around, so you'd actually be able to use those $60 titles that you spent money on. That's
right.
Yeah, because again, the best market for this is someone who is in a very tight budget, right? Like a super tight budget and also on the go. This would be perfect, but none of that adds up in terms of the actual pricing model and the technology side, because like you need to be able to play on crappy Wi-Fi.
You do, yeah. That's essentially what it is. If it works on crappy Wi-Fi, then that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But don't forget, in the future, it's also supposed to support 8K. so for this budget device, for this is where Google was so confused. I'm like, this would be great for a consumer who maybe can't afford a console. But also, if you want 8K with this TV, that's probably going to cost you $10,000. Hey, you can, but it might.
That's why it's an identity crisis. It doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah, I don't know if the argument that it's for somebody who can't afford a home console is going to work out.
No. Yeah, definitely not.
Because they need really good internet, so
right. The no loading, no waiting, like just hit the button and start playing. That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's for a busy man that travels, busy travel guy who goes
and
through all
the
the
what they're gonna do soon?
Stuff.
The original pitch of like, oh, I'm watching Watts play Monster Hunter. Let me check this game out and clicking a button on YouTube and I'm playing it. That's fucking dope. But I'm not paying $60 to check something out because I saw somebody playing it on YouTube. You know,
you gotta. It's got to be on a subscription service to work that way.
Yeah,
too bad.
Yeah,
guys, we should talk about other topics before the show's over.
That's the show. It's
that's the show.
Well, that's the old SideQuest, Stadia SideQuest. So, Monster Hunter World. Speaking of,
what's going on there?
There's news, right?
They got some new stuff. New stuff. So
Eric's or Watts?
Yeah,
it's fill us in. Yeah,
Eric, you go for it.
They had this weekend was Monster Hunter Festa, which is their big festival. They have it every single year where they have all like the speedrun competition, and alongside that, they dropped a teaser for not one but two upcoming monsters. Because of course we have the update coming on December the 4th, which will be the next DLC Monster Edition. And that is Stygian Zenogre is the first one, which is a subspecies of Zenogre. So as opposed to being the Thunder Wolf, it's now a Dragon Element one. Really, really cool. It's got obviously like typical. Dangerous. Yeah, he's very dangerous and kind of typical sort of subspecies thing. Behave like somewhat familiar, but it's also got like whole new suite of moves and everything. But they then also teased another monster which they haven't named yet, so we don't technically speaking know what it is. But it's like this big, ominous-looking black dragon. People have been speculating that it may well be like a version of Xeno'jiiva because when you sort of compare them like side by side, you can sort of see like head similarities. And supposedly in the story, when we first fought Xeno'jiiva, it was only freshly born, so this could be like a fully grown one. And there's also the interesting idea that Xeno'jiiva is weirdly absent from Master Rank right now, so maybe it kind of fills that interesting gap. But the interesting thing is that they've got so like the plan right now is that 3rd of December they have a developer diary, which is where they always do that just before an update comes out and they kind of talk about it. So they'll obviously show that, but they've got a second developer diary on the 5th. So it's quite interesting to sort of think that they might, for the December period, might be dropping not just one but two monsters, which would be really, really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. Yeah.
And it could be a Xeno'jiiva thing. It could just be a brand new dragon that just looks like Xeno'jiiva. So that's exciting. Good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, with that, it also means you get whole new sets of armor, you get whole new sets of weapons. It'll be interesting to sort of see how they introduce it as well, because one of the other things they added in Master Rank, for example, was like Kulf Taroth, who introduced not introduced because it was in original Monster Hunters in a different capacity, but introduced like the relic system into World. So it might well be that maybe they're adding like 2 monsters because one fills the conventional space and one feels like this bigger, kind of siege effort. So yeah, that is what we have to look forward to. So a couple of weeks from today, sort of thing, we'll be closing in on a new monster, and that'll obviously kind of run out for this year. But they've obviously said that as part of their roadmap, there are more monsters coming in the new year. So yeah, Iceborne is still going strong, and they'll have a seasonal event as well.
Nice.
So they'll have instead of it being like Christmas, it seems like they themed it around like Chinese New Year this time, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So obviously like all like thematically matching armor sets and stuff. So yeah.
So
good stuff.
Quick question. How much have I missed if I played up until Borderlands 3 and then haven't played since?
When you played up until Borderlands 3, how far in Iceborne did you get to?
I unlocked
What did you find?
I unlocked like the beginnings of the end world that had the all the maps combined.
Oh, the Guiding Lands.
Yeah. The Guiding Lands.
Oh, then you're fine because then I mean, because the thing is like where you are right now means that you have basically completed. Well, it means you have completed the story. So anything new that gets added means you're automatically able to just dive in and play it anyway.
Right.
So while you have missed Rajang, which is like one of the additions, and of course that expands the Guiding Lands. Generally speaking, you haven't missed a great deal. There's obviously like the main thing you probably would have missed if you didn't do enough of the Guiding Lands stuff. There's a few of the endgame monsters like Silver Rathalos, Gold Rathian that you can unlock. They do have some of the best gear
By leveling up the Guiding Lands sections, right? So then they show up.
Yes. Yeah, or alternatively, you just get to like Hunter rank 125, and then you can unlock a double quest. And stuff.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Cool.
So you can do either one. But yeah, but you haven't really missed a great deal. So even if you just decided to jump back in for this, you could basically just jump straight back in and farm the new set, and you'd be fine. So
nice.
You're in a good place.
Cool.
Yeah, I need to get back on Monster Hunter.
Right.
I want to get ready to fight.
All these
Very
games
angry.
distracting me, like Death Stranding and Destiny. Come on.
We have to do this year a Game of the Year list. We have to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got to discuss how we're going to do it. Maybe we can get some chat suggestions for
Anthem.
Like how to format that.
Mic drop.
I am going to war for Anthem.
Well, no, did we discuss this on the show before? Or did we not?
No,
they
we didn't.
No,
They did, of course, say that there are rumors that they are, well, not rumors, apparently, like Jason Schreier, I mean, technically speaking, it's still a rumor. They are doing some work on rebooting Anthem. Like, apparently, they've been tearing it down inside the studio, doing a complete re-overhaul. And
quote
although they've
unquote
got
Taken King style, right?
Yeah. And so there's no like timeline on this yet right now, which I think is the right approach because I don't want to kind of say to people, hey, it might be in 3 months. But the fact they're actually doing that is, I mean, because we always sort of said before, like I felt like, okay, there was a lot wrong with the game, but the moment-to-moment gameplay, the foundational, the fun stuff you do was there. So like the game was fun to play.
Yeah.
Just give me stuff to play.
And
I 100% agree.
Unique as well. Like I can't think of a game right now that gives you what Anthem does with that flying combat and the combo system and all that.
Yeah.
Put together.
I think they should just say this is a game where you fly, take all limitations of flying off, and create the entire game around people flying.
Minecraft mech flying.
Yes.
No Man's Sky edition.
No Man's Sky.
You might never meet anyone.
The combat system I found to be incredibly satisfying, and like, I could replay like what were they called in that game? The strikes,
Strongholds.
basically strongholds. I could replay those over and over again. I was having a good time because the combat was just challenging enough that it kind of it kept me using those combos and like trying to maximize my DPS. But there's so much wrong with it, like Eric said. Like
the loot system. It's just
it was really harsh when we found out that the loot system was basically complete bullshit and that you're stronger with like the starting gear than you were with the stuff that you got out of like master level 3.
Yeah, there was some
that was like, well, that sucks.
It was a lot of monka going on in there.
If they could really revamp that game, I'm in. Like I'm definitely gonna check it out.
100%.
Yeah.
They need to optimize it too, because my dear lord.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Yikes.
People were
I was
struggling
convinced
to
that this game was
stream
dead,
playing
though.
that game. Man, it's rough.
Yeah.
I was convinced this game was dead because I hadn't heard anything out of them in so long. And then their head of the studio left, or I don't know what his title was, but like the face of that game took off.
I'll be honest, I'm not surprised.
Not a good look.
I'm not surprised because I feel like they put a lot of time and energy and effort into that title, and they knew where it could go. Like they can see those things that you saw too, Briar, and be like, yeah, there's something here, and there's a lot
but they
wrong.
Had just dropped Mass Effect the year before. Like they dropped that so hard. There's like incredible story holes that we're supposed to get DLC, and they just didn't.
Yeah, no, totally. But I guess I look at it as like not just the company as one singular thought process, but like a whole faction of different groups working on multiple projects and thinking about what can actually be done, what type of time frames. I feel like they'd look at Anthem and be like, okay, clearly there's a loop problem, there's an optimization problem, and a progression problem. Rearrange some stuff, put a timeline for development. They could turn that around because the assets are technically already made. They just have to reposition and shift things around to actually create an interesting loop for progression in the end game. And then you have a solid Anthem experience.
Yeah, I think there's definitely potential for it to kind of like be rebuilt as well. Because I mean, the thing is, like, I know everyone was sort of like worried when they had like major people from the studio leaving, and like, I mean, no disrespect to people in the studio because I know there's like, I know a lot of people there that worked like incredibly hard on it. But when you remember that big article that came out from Jason Schreier about like what went wrong with Anthem, one of the kind of big note points from that was also that there was like a big kind of struggle when it came to leadership in terms of people not necessarily knowing the direction they wanted to go, and they were like very kind of different directions. So I feel like you've seen this sort of sometimes with like other projects as well, where sometimes like leadership steps away from it and then someone else gets to take the helm, and then suddenly someone with fresh ideas is like, all right, let me just lead the charge. So it could actually be, not to say that obviously the leaders from before didn't know what they were doing, but it could be that someone given a new opportunity might be like, all right, let me make this the game I think people want. So
yeah,
cool.
I think that happens all the time. People get burnt out on their perspectives and need to switch projects, and then someone comes in with a fresh look and can revitalize it. The opposite can happen too. Somebody come in with a fresh look and just completely kill it and be like, whoops.
The one thing they do need to do though, they did in that kind of rumor article, they were like, they haven't quite worked out how they were going to deliver it yet. They were like, whether they do it in incremental updates or whether they do it something like that. And they were also like, they haven't worked out if they're going to sell it. Like, two things for that. One, they need to do it as one big update, because if they do incremental things, like, people will just not be there. And secondly, they can't be selling this, because if they come around, they're like, hey, that Anthem that didn't do very well? If you buy it again, we promise it's going to be good this time. Like, no. You just need to be like, update your game. Let's go.
Yeah. The Diablo approach.
Like what with No Man's Sky did, right? No Man's Sky came out and people were like, this is all a lie. This is awful. And now they're kicking ass.
Yeah. And they're
praising. They just kept
updating that the entire community hated.
It's amazing the genesis of hate to evolution to love for that game that's happened
for No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
oh my god,
it's incredible.
Yeah,
okay, but they've done massive changes and obviously have fixed a lot of those wrongs and added a lot of innovation.
I haven't played it in a month, but I was putting a lot of hours into No Man's Sky in VR, and it was an amazing experience.
That's cool. That's something I've yet to experience. I need to at some point.
Really cool.
Did you guys hear that we're getting a Half-Life game?
Right?
Half-Life 3. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of VR, like, people are really upset that this is a VR title. I am super hyped about it. Like, I can't wait. It's gonna be like a full-length Half-Life game.
Yeah.
In VR.
Like is it only gonna be for their VR system?
Steam's not usually like that, or Valve's not usually like that. My guess that is it'll work with pretty much whoever. I mean, PlayStation
Their
VR excluded, obviously.
Exclusive to Google Stadia.
Because their VR system actually tracks each of your fingers.
Oh, wow.
Which is
the Valve Index does. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Really cool. That's a new level of immersion right there.
My guess is that you'll be able to play it on an Oculus or whatever, because there's Oculus support in Steam.
Yeah.
Okay.
But probably to get the best experience, you're gonna want the Index.
So so there's a section of people that are like, "What? This needs to be on mouse and keyboard. I can't believe you'd make a new game and not support mouse and keyboard. This is ridiculous." And then Valve said that the core of the game is built for VR. Like, you can't have the same experience in the game without the VR system.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Because if Valve says you have to have the VR setup for this to be the experience, then I believe them. honestly.
Yeah,
I think
these are the guys.
VR experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the guys. I mean, their excuse for not making Half-Life 3 all these years is like, Half-Life 1 was like a revelation for first-person shooters, and Half-Life 2 again was like the reason we were making these games is because like we had these ideas for a really cool thing, and like we just haven't had that like inspiration for a Half-Life 3. This isn't Half-Life 3. This is more of a side story, but still, like it's really exciting. It's been a long time. When did the last Half-Life Episode 2? I'm looking at it right now. Came out in 2007.
Yeah.
So Half-Life 2 came out in 2004. Half-Life 2 Episode 2 came out 3 years later in 2007.
Yeah.
So it's still been 12 years since Episode 2.
It's a long time.
And we never got Episode 3.
I mean, they started printing money on the Steam store. They're like, all this money keeps printing. I guess we'll keep print more money.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really exciting if you're a VR fan. Like really exciting.
Do we know if it's going to be 100% VR? Because there's some VR games where you can play it, just not in VR.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a VR game.
Okay,
That's what they said. That like this game was built specifically to experience VR, and that the mouse and keyboard just doesn't even give you the abilities that they have in the game. Which that's what intrigues me, because I'm not really sold on VR like Briar is. Briar, you are obviously all about trying out these different VR headsets, and I look to you for that knowledge. But I'm still kind of like, it's more of like I might use it for one game and then forget I had it for 2 years type of setup. That's how I feel right now. But if a game comes along that is extremely revolutionizing, like what this seems like it could be, then I would definitely be interested in investing in it and hopefully see other games.
Well, I feel
like that.
Yeah, because I feel like where we are in the kind of sphere anyway. Like even though there have been some great VR titles, I still feel like VR is very much still in that position where like a lot of stuff still feels kind of like a tech demo. I feel like you need someone to almost lead it and be like, this is the definitive game that suddenly says VR is now on the map, and people are like, okay, now we've had a good, fully fledged AAA experience that I can play end to end in VR, and then you can kind of have that.
Yeah, it's like Halo and Xbox.
To be clear, like I do believe that there are VR games that are like absolutely like No Man's Sky in VR. I think is a reason to buy into VR. Like it's that amazing. The first time you get into your ship and fly your ship into outer space, and you're like sitting in your ship. It's outstanding. Like it is.
And you're sitting in your ship.
Really crazy. And you're sitting in your ship. But like Eric said, it's like a lot of my favorite things in VR are like things like Super Hot or Gorn. That are like, I mean, they're smaller experiences, they're lighter experiences. You're done with them in a few hours. Like even Beat Saber, it's really popular, but it's a game where you hit blocks to the sound of music, it's one of those like driving games. I would say if you're a driving game fan, VR is a must-have because like
immersive, right?
It's immersive, and you can look around a corner before you're driving around a corner, like you do when you drive.
True.
You don't just start turning a corner without like looking first. Like
that's funny. Yeah,
it's revolutionary. VR is revolutionary for video game or for driving games.
Is the Index the best VR headset out there right now?
It's the best of the ones I've used that are available now. There is a new.
Is it the most expensive too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like
how much is it?
What are we looking at?
It's $1,000.
That doesn't involve a computer or anything, right? That's just the setup.
Yeah, it's the headset, the Index controllers, and the boxes that you mount to the corners of your room that kind of like shoot the lasers out for tracking.
Can I get that in Google Stadia?
No, but you can get Oculus right now for $400, and it's like 90% as good.
Okay. Doesn't track my fingers though.
You just can't. You can't do the tickle fingers. You can't walk
it
around.
It does track your fingers. The Oculus does track your fingers.
Imagine in Destiny.
So maybe it'll work great then.
Imagine Destiny.
I think it probably will.
If you're like a crazy warlock, as most warlocks are, they're super crazy, walking around. And they're like, that's your melee to zap someone. Like if you don't do that, you don't actually do the melee.
I got real into a game called Onward, which is basically Call of Duty in VR, and it is amazing how much slower Call of Duty in VR is compared to Call of Duty with a mouse and keyboard.
That's funny.
Like, you're walking around at like real-time walking speeds, not 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's hilarious.
Well, I'm curious. Was there any dates associated with Alex yet, or no?
I don't know. Let me look it up real quick.
I feel like this is going to be a year or two
how
out.
I feel about this whole looking up stuff. I feel like we should just be making wild guesses and going.
It's coming out next week. All right, guys. Great.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
I'm going to say April 17th. I don't even know what day that is.
Of
March 2020. Pretty close.
Wow. March 2020.
Maybe it'll get delayed and then it will come out in April.
Yeah. Now I'm like, crap. I have to like finance $1,000 before then for this.
There's also a trillion games coming out in March 2020. So that's exciting.
Verge, the Verge article, which I don't know, how you feel about the Verge. They say it'll be compatible with PC VR headsets.
Oh, okay.
Not just.
So you can get Oculus and it's way cheaper.
Yeah,
and
for way
still
cheaper.
get the finger tracking.
Something has changed too. The Oculus Quest, which is the standalone Oculus, just got support that you can now plug that into a PC and play PC VR games.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, which makes it to me super attractive because being able to play Oculus Quest like in your backyard is kind of an amazing experience because you can like romp. Like if you have a big open space, you can like romp around out there. Like you don't have to worry about like, bumping into furniture and shit.
Trying to play Call of Duty IRL. He's just like
sliding
everywhere.
He's like actually the Ready Player One people on the street with headsets walking around.
I returned mine, but when I had it, I was gonna bring one of my kids and have him film me at the park that we have down the street, just like out in the open, because I thought it would be hilarious. Just
would be hilarious.
Prancing through the meadow.
Make sure we get zoom in on all of the judging people's faces. Ideally.
Yeah, people doing head turns and being like,
just cut to people going.
What the
hell? But yeah, that's a super attractive thing now because you get kind of the best of both worlds. You're wireless with the Quest, and you can play PC VR games.
That is, yeah, definitely best.
Yeah,
interesting, huh?
Interesting.
Cool.
I do have a question. I have a controversial question to round out SideQuest.
Okay.
And that is, why do people like Half-Life? You see, as somebody that has, there's somebody that has never played Half-Life. I've looked at it and I'm just like, this game looks boring. Why would I? Why?
It was a time and place thing.
Right.
At the time,
you had to be there, Eric.
At the time, first-person shooters were like Duke Nukem and Quake and things like that, which were really not so much about story. They were just about like shooting stuff and blowing stuff up. What Half-Life brought to the table was like a really immersive story and cinematic storytelling, which was completely new for the genre. And really, you felt like you were Gordon Freeman.
Okay.
And it was really different in that way. And then the second one brought to the table, I mean, if you're already invested in the story of Half-Life, it still continued that, but it also brought this incredible physics engine where you can manipulate objects around you in a way that you never could before in video games.
Right. And that's where the Garage Mod stuff came from.
Yeah. What's the engine that Half-Life was built on? Do you know?
Source?
Is that Source? Is that where Source came from? Because that's... I'm not sure, but I know that was one of the major groundbreaking things, as well as that engine ended up laying the foundation for a ton of first-person shooters that came out.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Counter-Strike. Gary's
and then
mod.
when you say with regards to like the storytelling stuff, because I forgot the dates, was Half-Life before things like GoldenEye and Halo?
I think it was happening around the same time.
Right. Okay. Because I had like the GoldenEye experience for like my FPS. I had like the Halo experiences, but like for me, Half-Life, I just kind of completely missed. So everyone always like, yo, I need Half-Life 3. And I'm just sitting there, I was like, I couldn't really care less. But I'm just like, but obviously it's an important thing. And I'm just like, I wanted to understand why people like hold it in such a high regard. So
I think it was around the same time. And you're probably having like revolutionary experiences depending on just where you're playing. Like unless you're playing on PlayStation and you just never got a good FPS.
Yeah, so
my time on Nintendo. It was great.
It definitely was a Renaissance type of thing, because obviously today it's like, well, what the hell? But that's because it was one of the, it was one of the first, not like the first, but it was one of the first like groundbreaking narrative storytelling first person shooters where it was like, this is different. You know, your character is being affected by the environment and things are happening and there's changes, and that creates like an immersive experience that we kind of take for granted nowadays.
True.
It's the same as in movies. Like somebody does something really innovative in movies, and then everybody copies that for the next 20 years, and you go back and watch that original movie, and you don't see what's so original and amazing about it, because at the time, The Matrix, bullet time was like mind blowing when you saw it the first time in 1999, and then every movie used it for the next 10 years.
True.
Going back and watching The Matrix as like, you know, somebody who wasn't there to experience it for the first time, not as mind blowing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the Matrix effects don't really hold up too well.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I'll have to go watch it.
I mean, they're not bad, but they're not like, oh my God. You know, they're clearly, this is late 90s, early 2000s. Interesting.
Yeah. At the time, though, it was
mind blowing. Yeah. At the time.
Yeah. Bullet time specifically.
Yeah.
And what was the scene where he's in the fight in the lobby of the hotel?
Yeah.
That was outstanding.
Where they're just blowing everything up. But also, you watch a scene like that and you're kind of like, why? You know what I mean?
We can.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, you kind of take for granted also Hollywood martial arts scenes and sequences have gotten really advanced now. And
well, MMA hit the scene. So now you can actually see what works in real martial arts. Like you watch UFC and you can see that the wire fu that they used in Project Tiger Hidden Dragon is completely ridiculous. Right. So that kind of like kung fu just looks ridiculous now when you watch a movie that uses it or a TV show that uses it. Now you expect everybody to be using these like hard hitting things MMA.
I had watched The Matrix, the original, and then I watched Ant-Man. And you don't think of Ant-Man as an amazing martial arts experience. It's like, it's Ant-Man, you know?
No.
But the difference was so wide and clear. It's like Hollywood has jumped light years in martial arts effects and sequencing from then to now. And we take it for granted, honestly. We really do.
Yeah. We're living in a golden age right now for movies and for TV.
Yeah.
You know, like the stuff that they're doing right now, you know, for TV, I think especially the TV quality of like writing, special effects, the amount of money they're putting into TV shows has grown exponentially.
Yeah, because it used to be the case where someone would say, okay, instead of making whatever 2 as a movie, we're going to make a TV show. And people would be like, oh no, because it means it wouldn't look as good. It wouldn't be as well written. But now there's so much money put into that it's really kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's better in some.
In a lot of cases, it is. Yeah, you also get to experience it for longer. It's
they can explore characters more deeply. They can instead of doing, you know, like if you're a big fan of a comic book, instead of having to wrap up a whole comic book in an hour and a half, you get 8 to 10 hours to go through, you know, that comic.
And they cancel it.
Yeah. Speaking of TV, can I hit you guys with some breaking news real
Let's
quick?
have it.
It's not really that much news. But
wait, do we have a breaking news sound effect, Hefty?
Breaking news with Watts.
So at 1:21 p.m. this Monday, just now, a certain amount of minutes ago, like an hour ago, Game of Thrones tweeted, "Winter is coming." What does it mean?
I mean,
are they remaking season 8?
Technically, if you're not in Australia, winter's coming, right?
Maybe they're just talking about winter coming.
Yeah, literally, winter.
They've been on again, off again with a new series, right?
Yeah. So the one is definitely happening, which is like the story of the Targaryens. So from the beginning of how the Iron Throne came about, that's definitely 100% happening, and that's actually being
that's like
written...
Titanic. I already know how it ends.
Well, yeah, but this is actually being written with George R.R. Martin instead of him not writing it.
So
instead
of writing the book he's supposed to be writing,
and he's also working on the game. So
he's just distracted.
When somebody tells me George R.R. Martin's working on something, consider me skeptical.
Is he working on Google Stadia?
Yeah.
He's working on
It would explain a
everything.
lot of things.
He's working on everything that's not the book.
Yeah.
So
They're like, hey,
Is
George.
this like me telling my mother I cleaned the room? Yeah, I'm working on it, Ma.
It's like, hey, George, why don't you finish that book? And he's like, yeah. I'm just going to accept a few hundred projects first and get those done. And then I might finish that
I'm
book.
on it.
Yeah.
But first, beer.
So, I mean, maybe they're just giving a heads up that there's going to be an actual announcement about the prequel.
Cool.
Maybe.
I'm excited. Maybe because there was originally going to be the prequel that you were just talking about, and then also a side story called like the Egg Knight or something. Does that sound right?
There was going to be something that I think was even before the Targaryen.
I think that
story.
got canned.
It did get
That,
canned.
that got totally shit canned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And now they're doing the Targaryen story.
Night.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe there will be an
Makes sense
announcement.
because it's all about the Iron Throne, and they're going to be telling the story of how all of that came about, which
Mm-hmm.
will be interesting. Especially seeing the Mad King go mad. I would like to see how they're going to do that.
Yeah.
They're going to spend 7 seasons not making any intonation toward it at all.
And then all of a
And
sudden,
then in the last episode, bam, he's mad.
guess what?
The
Man
story in
King.
the books is so good with him going mad. It was so good, which actually makes it really sad because the way they could have done Daenerys going mad would have been beautiful. But because
True.
his story of going mad was really amazing.
Yeah. I was reading an article not too long ago about like the difference between the show that just finished. The difference between when they were going off of the books and when they stopped going off of the books and how drastic it was, like the quality of the writing.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, like instead of just like you'd see people go to battle and then you'd see them come back from battle, but you'd never actually see the battle when they were going off the books.
Right.
And then when they stopped going off the books, you saw every battle because they were just trying to fill time.
They're like, what do we do with this? We could show the battle. Good idea.
We could throw money at it.
And then they were like, yeah, so we're ready to go do something else. We don't want to make Game of Thrones be 9 or 10 seasons. We're going to go make Star Wars. And then recently they're like, we're not making Star Wars.
Good. They should be punished. They did.
So they got kicked
I
off
don't
that project? Because I was worried about that. I was like, oh boy, these
I
guys
don't know.
are moving over
I don't
there.
know if you read, there was like this whole thing because they did some interview and they were basically like, we went up to HBO, didn't really know what we were doing and just like, hey, we can make something. And then they got hired and they had no idea what they were doing. They didn't know how to work with costume workers. They didn't know how to work with anybody.
Yikes.
And they basically just bluffed their way into getting a TV show.
Honestly, that sounds exactly like Hollywood. Just straight up.
They did.
Yeah.
They did everything perfectly until they had to write stories.
Yeah.
And
Until
then
they had to do the job they were hired for. Yeah.
That sounds like 95% of the careers out there in Hollywood. Pretty wild.
like if George R.R. Martin had actually finished those books when he was supposed to, we'd be talking a totally different story about the Game of Thrones series.
Yeah.
True.
So thanks,
actually,
George.
This is George's fault.
You
Yeah.
should have stopped drinking the damn beers and getting distracted with your golf projects. You should have finished the book, man. Damn it.
Why are you in Japan making
instead-
a Dark Souls game? What are you doing?
So instead, he stopped and he went to the nearest pub.
Oh my God.
You're welcome.
Oh.
I think on
I'm
that.
into that Dark Souls game though. I can't wait.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
I'm
gonna be
excited about
amazing. I'm
that
actually
too.
really glad he's working on that. Thank God, it's gonna be great.
I think on that that uplifting note, we better end the show, guys. It's good.
I don't want to leave.
All right. Well, quick
I don't want to
tips.
end the show.
Quick tips on basting a turkey. Go.
Okay. Inside out. You want to go
Wait till
inside out
December
with a
25th.
baster.
Okay.
What?
Inside.
Have you
out.
ever fried a turkey?
My brother has. I've never done it. I'm too scared.
Yeah, I've never had it either, but it sounds delicious.
Yeah. It is delicious.
I actually don't know that much about basting a turkey, to be honest.
I could Google it real
Pretty
quick.
Let me call the Butterball
According to
hotline
this
real quick.
Quick
Twitter
tips
video I
for
saw, you have to crunch up Cheetos and sprinkle them over your turkey, and apparently it comes out
yeah,
great.
that's how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then you
Don't
put
do
like
that.
7 blocks of cheese inside, and
Oh,
then
no,
put the
that was
Cheetos
horrible.
on top.
Yeah. What about
My wife
whole
sticks
sticks of butter?
pieces. Yeah, my wife sticks like big pieces of butter between the skin and the meat.
That
and then
sounds
cooks it.
delicious.
It is delicious. She cooks a bean turkey. She's not cooking this year, and I'm kind of
Get your-
upset about
Get
it.
your wife on to talk about turkey basted.
She just took the dog to get it washed.
Took the dog out to get washed. Got it.
Yeah. driving through the old car wash, as you do with a dog.
Oh man! All right, guys. Well, that is the episode for SideQuest.
Yes.
It's been a thrilling Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving edition.
Yes, this is the Friendsgiving
beta.
before the Thanksgiving.
Friendsgiving beta, Christmas beta version of
Christmas beta
podcast. Yes. If you want,
SideQuest complete.
yeah, SideQuest complete, guys. Yes. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. Oh, is there any news also for? We're going to announce something for DCP this week?
DCP. So DCP is falling on Thanksgiving Day, which, as you can imagine, might be a little questionable.
Yeah.
So we're going to be moving it to the Friday the 20. No. Yes. Right. Yes.
7th?
Yes. The 29th. Friday the 29th. Yes.
Friday.
Yes.
Question
So
mark.
Friday. This Friday.
We're
So
totally
if you-
completely locked in on this, guys. We have 100%. No reservations whatsoever. Definitely
I know what's
the Friday.
happening. Yes, it's definitely Friday. So don't expect a show on Thursday. Enjoy your day with your family, or if you're not in America, just do the same thing. Probably.
Right.
Perfect.
Go
But
to
it should
work.
be ready for you for your drive home.
There you go.
Yes.
If you're driving home on Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah. After you've trampled people over in Walmart and claimed your sweet
Right.
deals.
Yes. If you do trample anybody in Walmart, send us pics.
Yeah, we
at
wanna see.
DCP Live at Twitter or at DCP Live.
If you could also be considerate, take some slow-mo video and then add a little action music, or like
Yeah.
Yeah.
some
That'd be
like
nice.
epicness.
The music from the fight scene in The Matrix would be great.
do it whilst wearing a VR headset.
Yes.
Ooh.
Amazing. And then you could just say, I was just playing my VR game. I didn't beat anybody up. What
There you
are you
go.
talking about?
Yeah. Watts.
And if you get arrested, just say I was angry because Stadia didn't work.
There you go. Blame on
Yes.
Stadia. Watts, where can
That's right.
people find you?
It's George's fault.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts.
Yep. And you can find me
Yes.
over on Twitter and YouTube at Arix or Arix Gaming, respectively. I don't even know what's going on this week. Lots of things. More Borderlands this week. That's it.
Oh, we didn't talk about Malum Takedown.
Well,
we can do it next
have you
week.
even played it?
No, but I wanted to find out from Eric
I have.
to know about what's going on. Oh, well.
Well, if you still don't play it, and then you can find out from me next week.
I'll have played it by then.
How long does that event go for? Malawan Takedown.
It's permanent.
But
right?
I'll take those permanent.
Yeah,
So
permanent.
you're good for that one.
Permanent. Okay.
Right.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me in a trailer eating Thanksgiving dinner on a horse farm.
Trailer Thanksgiving
Using
dinner
Google
horse farm.
Stadia with the Google Stadia VR headset.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Great. Awesome. All right. Well, that's the show, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. GG's.
Bye.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
later.
Bye-bye.